Have you ever noticed those little quirks in your daily life? The way a floorboard creaks just so, or a shadow plays tricks on your eyes in the twilight? For Eleanor, it was her grandmother's watch, an old, elegant timepiece, a silver heirloom that she wore not for telling time, but for the connection it gave her to the past. But this watch had a peculiar habit. Every single night, without fail, its hands would freeze at exactly 11:59, 1 minute to midnight. At first, Eleanor found it charming, a quaint little mystery. She'd take it to jewelers, and they'd all say the same thing. The mechanism was flawless, a masterpiece of old-world craftsmanship. They couldn't find a single thing wrong with it. So, she learned to live with it. It became a ritual. As the house settled into silence, she'd glance at her wrist and see it 11:59. It was like the world was holding its breath, just for her. A silent nightly countdown to a moment that never arrived. She'd joke about it with friends, my ghost in the machine. She'd call it, laughing it off. But late at night, alone in her quiet apartment, the joke wore thin. The consistent, silent refusal of the watch to cross the threshold into a new day began to feel less like a quirk and more like a warning. What was it waiting for? What was so significant about that final unticked minute? The feeling was a slow, creeping vine of unease, wrapping itself around her thoughts. She tried everything to break the spell. She'd wind it meticulously, shake it, even leave it in another room. But every morning she defined it just as she expected. Stopped at 11:59. The watch seemed to have a will of its own, a silent, patient observer tethered to her wrist. The once charming oddity had become a source of dread. It was a constant reminder of time, not passing, but paused on a precipice. The inevitability of it was suffocating. One Tuesday evening, something felt different. A strange stillness had fallen over the city, a quiet so profound it was almost loud. Eleanor was reading in bed, the lamp casting a warm, lonely glow. She glanced at her wrist, her heart beginning to pound a slow, heavy rhythm against her ribs. 11:59. As always, she held her breath, watching, waiting for the familiar stillness. But then, it happened. For the first time in years, there was a sound, a tiny, almost imperceptible click. Eleanor's eyes widened. She stared, disbelieving, as the second hand, which had been frozen for as long as she could remember, trembled and then swept forward. It completed its silent, patient journey. The minute hand shifted. The watch now read 12 o'clock, midnight. A wave of relief, cold and sharp, washed over her. It was over. The strange curse, the nightly ritual. It was broken. A smile touched her lips. It was just a watch, after all, a silly old watch. With the spell finally lifted, a profound sense of peace settled over her. She turned off her lamp, the darkness of her room feeling, for the first time in a long time, welcoming. She closed her eyes and drifted into the deepest, most tranquil sleep she'd ever known. The next morning, the sun streamed through her window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Birds sang outside. The world had woken up, as it always did, but Eleanor didn't. Her grandmother's watch, resting on the bedside table, was still ticking, faithfully keeping time for a world she was no longer a part of. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey into the uncanny. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more tales from the shadows. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.